The scent of gardenias was thick enough to taste, a cloying sweetness pressing down from the heavy, humid air of Alabama. From my perch on the porch swing, I watched strangers in pastel dresses and seersucker suits file into the backyard. Their laughter was a bright, sharp contrast to the dull ache in my chest. My baby sister, Chloe, was getting married. Lila, her only sister, was banned from the wedding. The official decree came from our mother, Evelyn, in a voice like chilled steel 2 days ago. My crime? Ruining the mood, I suggested during the final dress fitting, that the $10,000 Bali honeymoon might be risky. Brad's recent indiscretion was not a secret to his friends. I overheard him laughing about it. I hadn't meant to cause a scene. It slipped out in a frantic, whispered attempt to protect her. In Mom's world, a flawless facade was paramount. Unpleasant truths were not unwelcome, they were treason. So I was exiled, ordered to stay in the main house during the ceremony and reception, a ghost in my own home. I sipped iced tea, the glass sweating in my hand, listening to the muffled strains of a string quartet beginning the processional. My dress, a simple lavender silk I'd bought just for this day, felt like a costume for a play I wasn't allowed to perform. I'd thought about driving away, but something root deep held me here. Maybe it was the need to bear witness, even from the shadows. Or maybe it was the secret I'd carried for 32 years, a truth buried so deep I'd almost convinced myself it was a dream. It sat in my gut now, not as a pebble, but as a lodestone, pulling me toward a precipice I'd spent a lifetime avoiding. The ceremony was starting. I could hear the officiant's voice, a sonorous rumble. I crept to the edge of the porch, peering through a gap in the hydrangeas. Chloe looked like a vision from a magazine, her smile radiant, fixed on Brad as he took her hands. My mother, seated in the front row, was a study in elegant triumph, her back rod straight, a single perfect tear, I imagined, tracing a path down her expertly made-up cheek. It was all so beautiful. So utterly false. A wave of nausea, hot and sudden, washed over me. It wasn't just about today. It was about every time my achievements were subtly downplayed to bolster Chloe's. Every time, my feelings were labeled dramatic, while Chloe's sensitivities were coddled. Every time I was told to be the understanding one, the rock, while the narrative of our perfect mother and daughter duo was polished to a high shine for the world. I was always the supporting character in Chloe's story, and today, I've been written out completely. The finality of it, the sheer injustice wrapped in floral arrangements and charming southern accents, snapped something inside me. The secret, my secret, began to beat against the walls of my ribs like a second heart, demanding to be heard. It wasn't a weapon I'd ever wanted to use. But as I watched Mom dab her eyes with a lace handkerchief, playing the perfect matriarch, a cold clarity settled over me. She had built this beautiful stage. She had cast me as the villain. Now, she would reap the consequences of the foundation she'd built it on. The ceremony ended with applause. The crowd began to migrate toward the white tent where dinner would be served, the buzz of conversation growing louder. This was the intermission, the perfect, chaotic lull. I didn't change my dress. I didn't tidy my hair, I just walked. The grass was damp under my bare feet, I'd kicked off my heels. I moved through the crowd like a sleepwalker, a few guests doing double takes, their smiles faltering. I saw my Aunt Carol from Atlanta, her eyes widening in shock. I walked past the champagne tower, past the giggling flower girl, straight toward the head table where my mother was holding court, Chloe and Brad beside her, glowing. The din of the party seemed to recede, replaced by a high-pitched hum in my ears. My mother saw me first. Her smile didn't vanish, it calcified, a warning flashing in her hazel eyes, so like my own. Chloe followed her gaze, her joyful expression crumbling into confusion and hurt. Lila. What are you doing? All the practice speeches, the gentle revelations I'd imagined over the years, evaporated. What came out was raw, stripped bare by decades of silence. You banned me, I said, my voice not a shout, but carrying with a strange, clear resonance that cut through the music. For telling a hard truth to protect my sister. For ruining the mood. So I guess the mood is already ruined, Mom. That must mean it's finally a good time for another hard truth. Lila, this is not the place, Mom hissed, standing up, her poise straining at the seams. You will leave right now, or I will have you removed. Where is the place, Mom? I asked, sweeping my gaze over the now silent crowd. Captive audience. Perfect. The therapist's office you refused to take me to when I was having nightmares. The family dinners where you told us to keep things pleasant. When, exactly, was I supposed to talk about the fact that the woman who raised me isn't my biological mother? A gasp rippled through the tent, a collective intake of breath. Chloe made a small, wounded sound. What is she talking about, Mom? My mother's face went the color of parchment. You are hysterical. You're inventing cruel stories because you're jealous. That's always been your problem, Lila. Her name was Sarah, I said, and saying it aloud here now felt like breaking a curse. She was 19, a college student. You and Dad couldn't have children. It was a private, closed adoption. You brought me home from a little apartment in Birmingham when I was 4 days old. I looked directly at Chloe, whose face was a mask of stunned disbelief. You were a miracle, Chloe. The pregnancy no one expected. Your perfect baby, born when I was 5. And suddenly, the adopted daughter wasn't just a consolation prize. She was a living, breathing reminder that your family hadn't started out perfect. Stop it, my mother whispered. But the command had lost all its power. You never told me, I continued, the words pouring out like blood from a lanced wound. I found my original birth certificate when I was 12, looking for my passport in the safe. I confronted Dad. He broke down and told me everything. He wanted to tell me when I turned 18. You forbade it. You made him swear. You told him it would confuse me, that it would break the family apart. You made my own truth a secret he had to keep from me. And when he died, my voice cracked. When he died, I was left alone with you and your perfect lie. I was too grief-stricken, too guilty to shatter the only family I had left, so I kept your secret for you, for 20 years. I buried the girl who was born to Sarah, and I tried so hard to just be Lila, your daughter. The tent was utterly silent. A server stood frozen, a tray of canapés held aloft. Brad looked like he wanted to vanish into the earth. This is my day, Chloe cried, tears finally spilling over. Why would you do this today? Because today, I said, turning to her, my own tears now flowing freely. She taught me that in this family, the truth is only welcome if it's pretty. That our happiness depends on silence. She exiled me for a tiny truth about Brad. What was she going to do with the biggest truth of my life? Bury it at her convenience? Never. I have spent 32 years living inside a secret that was mine to know, Chloe. I have watched you get the unconditional love that always felt just out of my reach, and I understood why. You were hers, I was borrowed. I faced my mother again. The elegant facade was gone, replaced by a look of sheer, undiluted panic. You were loved, she stammered. You were treated exactly the same. Were I shot back. When I got into Brown, and you said it was too far and too liberal, but you threw a massive party for Chloe's acceptance to Alabama. When my divorce from Mark was a shameful failure, but Chloe's broken engagements were just finding herself, you never looked at me and saw your asterisk daughter. You saw a choice you made, a problem you managed. My entire life has been ruining the mood by merely existing as a reminder that things aren't perfect. I took a step back, looking at the sea of horrified, fascinated faces. I'm sorry, Chloe. Truly, I am. I never wanted to hurt you. But I couldn't sit in that house for one more second, listening to you marry a man who doesn't deserve you. While the woman who raised us both pretends that love is about control and appearances, I met my mother's eyes one last time. The secret's out, Mom. The mood is officially ruined. Now you have to live in the truth, just like the rest of us. I turned and walked out of the tent. The silence behind me was absolute, then erupted into a torrent of whispers. I didn't look back. I walked across the dew-strewn lawn, past the empty ceremony chairs, and into the house. The sound of my own breathing was loud in the sudden quiet of the foyer. I didn't pack. I just grabbed my purse and car keys. As I opened the front door, I saw Chloe running toward the house, her wedding dress hiked up in her fists, her face streaked with mascara. "Lila, wait!" I stopped, my hand on the doorframe. "Is it true?" she asked, her voice small, shattered. "Every word. Why didn't you ever tell me?" The betrayal in her eyes was mixed with a dawning, awful understanding. "I was trying to be the sister you needed. The daughter," she demanded. "I was scared. Of this. Of exactly this." I gestured between us at the chasm that had just opened up. "I thought by carrying it alone, I was keeping you safe, keeping us whole. I was wrong." She sank onto the bottom step of the staircase, the magnificent dress pooling around her. "All this time, I just thought she was harder on you. I thought it was because you were older, stronger. I never imagined this. I know." The anger was draining from me, leaving behind a profound, exhausting sorrow. "It's not your fault, Chloe. None of this is your fault. What do I do now?" she whispered, looking up at me, lost. "That's up to you," I said softly. "You have to decide what you do with the truth." Just like I did, I wanted to hug her, to comfort her, but the space between us felt charged and fragile. "For what it's worth, I have always loved you as my sister, my real sister." That part was never a secret. I left her there, sitting on the stairs in her wedding gown, a portrait of a day unraveled. As I drove away from the house, the manicured lawns giving way to rolling hills, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt gutted, emptied out. The secret that had defined my life was no longer mine to carry alone. It was out in the world, a live wire sparking in the Alabama rain. But for the first time since I was 12 years old, I also felt a terrifying, fragile sense of freedom. The prison of my mother's narrative had finally, irrevocably, broken open. I had no idea what came next, whether Chloe would ever speak to me again, whether I had any family left at all. But I knew, with a certainty that settled deep in my bones, that the woman driving north on the interstate, tears streaming down her face in the twilight, was finally, authentically me. Hey everyone, if you just watched that story unfold, you know how heavy secrets can be. The weight of a truth unspoken can shape, and sometimes distort, an entire life. Lila's story is a fiction, but that struggle between protecting others and honoring your own reality is one so many of us face. If this resonated with you, if you've ever felt like you were living in someone else's version of your life, I want you to know your truth matters. Your story matters. It's never too late to claim it. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the complicated, messy, and ultimately courageous choices that define us. Hit the bell so you never miss a story. And in the comments below, let's talk. What would you have done in Lila's shoes? Is there ever a right time for a truth that changes everything? Thanks for watching. Remember to be kind to yourselves and to each other. See you next time.